Before we get in the program, it's time for this week's Joke of the Week.
What do bees wear in the rain?
Honey, bee hats, bee something.
They're yellow jackets.
Oh, they're okay. All right.
So this ad is brought to you by Rescue.com.
This joke is sponsored.
The joke. This week's garden joke is brought to you by Rescue.com. American-made rescue products keep your family, home, and yard protected from pest insects like wasps, hornets, yellow jackets, flies, ants, and more. Learn more at Rescue.com. That's RESCUE.com.
Things in which you can make your decor items for fall from your garden.
Yeah, and then we're also going to talk about some things that you can do to prepare for winter.
Winter, yes.
Yeah. So corn stalks, these are good if you grew corn or you have a neighbor who grew corn. They dry out once you harvest that corn, and they make great DIY decor.
Don't go to the garden center and buy these things. It just...
You can.
I know, but there's so many free resources. Right. There's so many free resources.
And I'm not going to shame people for buying them, but if you know somebody who has access to them, obviously, you know.
Don't go to a farmer's field and take them.
Okay, don't do that.
Don't do that. There's people that do that. Don't be that person.
Another thing you can do with those corn
stalks,
leaves, I guess.
Leaves, yes.
Whatever you want to call it. You can make a wreath. And there's lots of different styles that you can find online that show. Joey made one.
Out of a metal coat hanger.
Yeah.
Remember the metal coat hangers?
Yes.
Yes. You basically take and you tie, you got the dry leaf, and then you tie a knot and you tie it around you make your metal coat hanger into a round circle, and you can fill it up with the leaf of the corn.
Yeah. So you can get creative. You can do something like that, or you can I've seen people kind of affix them to their porch rails, things like that. So
the wreath, you mean?
Yeah, the wreath. Yeah. So yeah, that's one. And then pumpkins, that's a pretty obvious one. If you have a lot of pumpkins, you can make them decor. They do sit outside. They can sit outside for quite some time
until they freeze and they thaw, and then they turn to slime and they start collapsing in on themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. And then gourds. Gourds are a good one. You might not be, if you didn't grow them, you can typically find them at most farmers markets, and they do make a fun
The farmers market is where you're going to find the bigger, unique ones. The garden center, you're going to find the traditional, ordinary gourds. There's apple. There are apple gourds. They look like an apple, and then there's large bottom gourds, that type of thing. So your farmers market is where you're going to see or farm stand or fall festival activity gathering. You're going to see the more unique ones. Now, they may not all be able to be purchased, but that's where you're going to see them at.
Right. So that's another one. And then we have mums. Now, you might not grow mums. Maybe you do grow mums. Maybe you want to grow mums. Whatever you would want to do. Otherwise, you can usually find them everywhere.
Yes.
Come like September, outside your grocery store, at the big box stores.
People sell them on the side of the road.
On the side of the road.
Vines. Explain this one.
So this is you kind of have to get creative. So if you have vines growing, you can intertwine, use it as they are, but then you can intertwine anything like cornstalk leaves, put some gourds by it, put some mums.
So we're not taking, we're taking the dry vines of...
Or just any vine.
Okay.
Because vines kind of have that
We talking like cucumber vines, or we talking like woody, like grapevines?
Like grapevines, or just maybe you have a vine that grows up your front porch.
That you don't want to, like a hops or something.
Yeah, and you kind of just incorporate some fall decor, because it has like that eerie-ish kind of feel to it.
Okay. Yeah. And obviously, this next item is not going to come from your garden, but thrift stores is a great way to find a lot of fall decor items for a very few dollars. You can go in a thrift store with $10 and walk out with a lot of stuff. In addition, after the fall is over, if you are into straw bale gardening or want to get into straw bale gardening, after the Halloween time and the fall festival activities and when it starts getting cold, you'll be amazed as you drive around urban areas how many people have straw bales along the side of the road that they're throwing out. Assume that you get them before the trash people come, but you can bring them back to your garden, set them where you're going to have your straw bale garden, and then condition them in the spring, and you save $4 to $8 based on where you're normally purchasing your straw bales at.
If you're not sure where you want to put it, you can definitely bring it into your garage or something, or cover it up or whatever.
Cover it up. Put it where you think you want it, but cover it up, because if you put it in the garden and it rains, that 25-pound straw bale now becomes about 90 pounds soaking wet. And that type of thing. So, let's talk about, the second part of this first segment, preparing the garden for winter. Anybody who's in the northern areas know that there's a certain point where it's the no return. It's 70 degrees today, 45 tonight, and then tomorrow it bottoms out and it's the snow comes in, and that's the end of, the garden as we know it for the year.
Right. So one thing you can do is trim back any plants, whether this be perennials or maybe you have some tomato plants or peppers. You don't necessarily even have to trim them back, but you can pull them out and just lay them in the garden bed. This will help feed the soil. It'll give a nice little home for beneficial insects, and it's something that you can do if you don't want to just leave the plants as they are. A lot of perennials need to be trimmed at this time of year before winter, so those are some options for you. You want to make sure you're putting away any sort of supports, tomato cages, trellises, anything that you don't want to leave up that could get harmed by possible ice if you live in an area that would have ice or heavy snow, or you can leave them out, but you just want to make sure that you are making a decision what to do with them.
Pile up excess leaves either on your grow beds or in a pile that you can access them for a mulch and soil nutrition building. In addition, if you have a drip irrigation system or any type of irrigation system, we have a drip irrigation system. The main feed line is buried 6 inches under the ground next to the perimeter of the garden, and then all the feeder lines are coming off of that out of the ground and into our raised beds. We take a vacuum sweeper, and this only works on vacuums that allow you to invert the hose to blow air out. A shot vac you could do it with, and I tape it in, I disconnect it from the house faucet, take the timer inside so it doesn't freeze, and then I tape the hose onto the threads of the main line, and I blow it out. I let it run for about 10 minutes, and I go to the other end where the feeder line comes out of the ground and the end point is at, and I open that portion up to allow all the excess water to be blown out. Is it 100%? No. But it's about 80 to 90% where the volume of water is so minimal that when it freezes, it doesn't expand. If you don't do this, you know what happens. The water expands and it blows the hose, blows the pipe, breaks the pipe because water expands when it freezes. So getting most of the water out is going to save your drip and soaker hoses and all that irrigation system.
Right. So, yeah, that's definitely a good tip. Then you want to clean and treat your tools. So if you have pruners, spades, shovels, whatever it may be, you want to make sure you clean them.
Well, first, you want to find them and put them somewhere where they're going to be accessible in the spring, and you just don't throw them in a bucket in the back of the garden. I didn't know in our storage shed at the big garden, I didn't know we had like 40 feet of feeder line for the irrigation. I was digging around, and there was like 40 feet wound up of half-inch black pipe that I needed like several times that I had to modify other things for.
Well, it's a good thing you
because
found it.
I had it buried in the back.
Yeah, So don't do that. Like, for example, your trowel that you might need when you're starting seeds.
Well, see if it's any good.
Well, right, but I'm just saying, like, you might think, okay, I'm going to put this trowel here.
So I won't forget.
Where did
I put that trowel?
Yeah, you put it on a shelf in the shed, and then maybe you don't dig out the snow around your shed, and you're like, oh, I want to start seeds in January, and you got 3 feet of snow.
Or if you have compost that or potting soil that you've bought on sale right now, take it in the garage or take it in the basement, somewhere where it's not going to freeze, so you have accessibility to it. so you don't have to wait for it to thaw for a couple of days. And now's the time. There's still places that have this stuff either in bulk or in bag that you can buy at a real reduced rate because they don't want to hold it over winter.
No, and this is a tip for me, for myself, because I have my trowel sitting outside and I should bring it in.
If you're going to treat these tools, you can do it two different ways. You can scrub all the dirt off with a metal brush, and you can coat it with oil, or use motor oil, WD-40. However, if you are in the organic realm and don't want to contaminate the soil any more than what it might already be, vegetable oil is fine to coat them with, to pour over the hinges or the on the shears or anything like that. You can lubricate them up with organic or food grade oil in order to preserve them over the winter.
Exactly. And then if you have any power tools, whether it be a tiller or a lawnmower or whatever.
Your mom's always good about this,
Yes.
running the gas out of them.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, the gas is different than it was 25 years ago, but if gas, I don't know the precise, if gas is kept in a long period of time, it can degrade. Now, we have had, we use gas in the chainsaw and the weed eater on our property, and we don't drain it out. We always have some gas in it, so it's always ready to use for any type of mechanism. But like a lawnmower, you're not going to use a lawnmower basically from middle of November in the northern climates to early to mid-March. So it's going to sit there a long time. And the reason why it is, and I just remembered, the ethanol. Most people don't get ethanol-free gas. Most gas sold has some level, about 10% of ethanol in it. Ethanol will eat away at carburetors in these small engines.
Wow.
So you want to, like if you have a chainsaw and you use ethanol gas with your 50-to-1 ratio, it'll run fine. It'll work all day long, every day. But if you let that thing set for multiple months, that carburetor will be eaten out and you cannot get that thing started. So that's why certain areas, farther northern areas of what we have found, because we have land in the northern portion of Wisconsin,
right.
A lot of the gas stations up there has that 10% ethanol, but then they have the premium, which is 100% non-ethanol fuel, because there's so many ATVs and snowmobiles, chainsaws, weed eaters that require that kind of gas, so that it will not destroy the carburetor. So if you didn't know that, now you do.
The more you know.
Yeah. So you can figure that out and see, and you can do searches and find where you can get ethanol-free gasoline at for this particular purpose. And if you have to go on a journey, you have to go on a journey and get some quantity there. Well, quantity can be found at waltonsinc.com.
We are brought to you today by our sponsor, Walton's Inc. Listen, we know you care about where your food comes from, canning and preserving your fruits and vegetables, but is great, but what about the meat? At Walton's, you can get the equipment, seasoning, and supplies to make sausage, jerky, and any other meat product your way to your high standards. If you want to make snack sticks that people will actually like, Walton's created meatgistics.com, an informational site to help you make the best finished product. They have everything, full line of meat grinders, mixers, sausage stuffers, and more to help you go from animal to edible. Walton's everything but the meat. You can use code GROW50, that's GROW50, to save 10% off your orders of $50 or more.
When we return, invasive plants that